Yes, now, and welcome back to episode 121 of the Top Loaded Podcast. And this week we are joined by a very special guest. Funny enough, worked perfectly. We planned this all along to have it on the big day of the Scotland game. But first of all, before we introduce our very special guest, just a reminder this episode is powered to you by Third Down Space, your number one space for card supplies, custom card stands, great preparation kits, and everything you need. And use that code TTP10, that's TTP10 for 10% checkout. But introducing now our very good friend from north of the border, the one and only ScotlandCardShow founder himself. He's going to get all the awards as well with the card show. But first of all, Jordan, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, good. Yeah, sunny day in Edinburgh today. So excited for the football tonight. Thanks for having me.
As I say, it's a yearly tradition now.
It is, yeah.
It's quite funny. I'd like to know the weather of each time, but we've finally both got sun for it, so that's an achievement.
Yeah.
But before we talk about obviously the ongoing Scotland Card Show, which is obviously a massive hit, it is the Euros. Scotland have been performing very well in the last game, obviously in Cologne against Switzerland. But how has it been up there for it? Because I've been quite impressed with Scotland, especially in that second game.
Yeah, the atmosphere is insane. You know, I live quite central in Edinburgh, and every pub is just Scotland flags, Scotland shirts, and just they're all full, and beers are running out. It's amazing. And I'm going to the pub tonight, and with all my friends. You're gonna need a lot of drinks when you're watching Scotland, but yeah, we just hope for a win tonight. I think Hungary haven't won a game yet, but they are desperate to win. They've been playing really well. Yeah, their coach said they better be spitting blood after this game against Scotland because they need to win. So some may say they're hungry, but hungry for that win. But Scotland looked good against Switzerland. We nearly nipped the win in the end, but I think a 1-1 was pretty fair considering how well Switzerland did in the first half. And I would just like to see maybe a Scotland player score properly in this game. But we'll take anything, you know. If we win 1-0 from an own goal, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's where the brilliant thing about this new introduction for the third place teams going through as well, that even these last games of the group stage, a lot of them are going to have something on it. So obviously great for you because it's not even like you can go through in third place, like a win, and you're pretty much, it looks like you'd be pretty safe. And who knows, because it could be very favourable as well with certain big teams not doing as well in some so-called smaller nations. So you could even get, if you manage to pull off a result, you could even get a favourable last draw.
Exactly.
And then,
I think
as we always say, anything can happen in 90 minutes of football. That's what we always say.
Yeah, like honestly, if we are 1-0 after 10 minutes and we just sit back and win 1-0 after 8 minutes, like I'll take that. Yeah. I'd be very happy with that. And yeah, this third place idea is working really well in terms of for these smaller nations to have a chance. And it just means like a team like Belgium who didn't win their first game and then they won the other night. It like those big teams that maybe make a mistake in that first game, you know, like England drawn against Denmark, it doesn't really matter. They're still going to win the group, but those points matter to these smaller nations. And I think teams like, Ukraine, Austria and stuff, they're playing really well, so they deserve to go through, even if they finish third. But I think even a win tonight doesn't guarantee it because of that first game against Germany. Yeah. Our goal difference isn't the best. But, I would like to think 4 points is good enough to get through. If it's not, I think we should still be pretty proud considering if we beat a team and draw against a big team. And then, losing to Germany is kind of expected a wee bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be quite a few teams fall short of the Germans this tournament, if not everyone. So even opening night of a Euros, it was always going to be a hard one, that one. But let's move our attention. Obviously, I've got to move my attention to one thing here. How bad do you think? I've got to be neutral. How bad have England been to watch? Just going to put that one out there.
Oh no, it's been great for us Scottish people to watch England do bad, but we love to see England do bad. And like I said to you before this, like you guys are gutted with a 1-1 against Denmark, but we're celebrating a 1-1 against Switzerland.
Yeah.
I watched that Serbia game, and Serbia looked good, and I think they did deserve some sort of point out of that game. But yeah, Bellingham is just so good. I remember watching Scotland v England. It was like a anniversary friendly, maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And Bellingham was just skipping past our defense so easily. I think, yeah, and he must have been like 20 years old at the time. He was so good. So England have such a good team, but to see them only score 2 goals as well, like Scotland, is quite funny. But
yeah, we're level on that one. And I say, old Gareth Southgate's got his criticism this week. Fair enough. But just remember, it's an experiment. Everything's an experiment. So that's how I'm going to leave it.
I mean, Southgate, how long has he been the manager for England? How long is that?
Too long. That's my answer to anyone who asked me that one.
But he got you guys to the Euros final the last time.
Yeah, I just feel personally, with a manager a bit tactically a bit better, probably would have beaten Italy. But like I say, he's brought the country back to the national team, which was that's the big achievement. But it's one of them you're going to look back on in 5, 6, 7 years if you don't win nothing and be like, just like the early thousands team. Oh, you should have won it. Like the Belgian team of previous tournaments. You always get them generations where you need to capitalize. Spain done it very well. France done it in 2018. So it's ruthless international football because you can only win a proper tournament every 2 years. Like
England are always favourites in these competitions in terms of to win it. But yeah, you guys have such a good team on paper, but I don't know what it is. Is it goal scoring? Like, is it your defense? I don't know. Like, Kyle Walker is a great fullback, but I don't know what it is.
Trust me, if either of us knew it, I think we'd be getting paid quite a bit by the FA. So,
to be fair, Scotland on paper have a good team as well. You know, we got McGinn, McTominay. On paper we're good. When it comes down to the night, maybe not. But Robertson's one of the best defenders in England right now, is he not? He's
that's captain. We briefly touched on it. Obviously, our Arsenal player who has been out on loan. I'm gutted to see Kieran Tierney go down injured yet again. Yeah. But even him, having both of them in your back line, it's just it's brilliant.
We do. We have a good team. And I think tonight is their chance to prove that we're good enough to go through. Because I think, unfortunately, that Germany game, but against Switzerland, and hopefully tonight, like, we show that we should be in these tournaments. You know, I don't know if you follow the Nations League much, but we're now in the top group of the Nations League. So we're playing Portugal. I'm going to Hampden to watch Portugal v Scotland in October.
Lovely.
But, like, that's a tough game, but we're up in the top league. England are in the league below.
So, I can't absolutely wait for them thrilling encounters. Lovely. Absolutely brilliant. Can't wait for them. But like we say, it's going to be quite intriguing. Obviously, your game, as of recording that, is obviously tonight, obviously the Sunday night, which is going to be brilliant to watch.
Yeah, wait, when does this go on? Tuesday?
This will be out Tuesday. So as this comes out, it'll be an hour before the England game kicks off, and we'll know Scotland's fate. So it'd be very different this time in about 48 hours of what could have happened. You could be celebrating. No doubt we're all already like, oh, can we just get this game started now after seeing a dodgy 11 being lined up by Gareth? But I've got a feeling that Scotland might do well. I'm just gutted because I've got a soft spot for one of your players on the bench, Lewis Morgan, who plays for New York Red Bulls. Obviously, I follow them a bit in the MLS. Hoping to see him get off the bench for 5 minutes, but obviously because he's so far down the roster.
Yeah, we've been doing subs quite weird. You know, Scotland never have a goal scoring striker. We've not had one in like 20 years or so.
Yeah.
And we put Che Adams up front. But we've got a player called Lawrence Shanklin, who is top scorer in Scotland. He plays for Hearts. You know, he outscored all the Celtic and Rangers players. And he just keeps coming on like the 89th minute. And I'm like, I don't see why we can't just put him on. And just like, he's desperate to score and like earn that spot. Yeah. And, you know, changing our strikers doesn't change much. It's going to be McTominay or somebody that scores anyway, but...
Yeah. Well, you hope, but he's probably getting another own goal. I might put that on the little accumulator again today. Nice own goal again. Nice Hungarian Chalai own goal.
I would love that.
Definitely. I won't be complaining about an own goal from Jan Oblak on Tuesday. But let's turn obviously our attention away from the big event happening in Germany to the event happening obviously in Glasgow next weekend. Obviously, before we talk about this year's event, we'll briefly look back at last year's success. So, how did obviously the 2023 show? Obviously, sounds weird saying 2023
I know,
already,
right?
but how did the 2023 show happen? Because it looked an absolute brilliant
It was.
event
It was.
from
It was.
start to end.
It was in July, so it was a very hot day. I think everyone was in that hall, and it was like a greenhouse. It was like super hot. But nah, it was such a good weekend. It was the first time doing a 2 day event, and I think it worked out really well. And yeah, hosting it in Edinburgh was really nice because it was only like a 10-minute drive for me to go through.
Mm.
And then we had the trade night and the awards night in Hibs Stadium at Easter Road, and that went down really well. Everyone had a pint, and then everyone was ready to go the next day. And yeah, it was just lovely to be in the capital of Scotland. Edinburgh is really nice. It's very touristy, so I think people that came through all over the UK and Europe got to see the city. And I think that was the main thing, was to make a weekend of it, visit the city, collect some cards, and try some tenants for the first time and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I see a few guys heading up there going on scavenger hunts for deep fried Mars bars and the lot. But like I
Exactly.
say,
Yeah. That was what it
it's
was all about. It was
yeah.
a very good like come together in like maybe a city people haven't visited before. So
Yeah, I remember when we spoke a couple of years ago regarding like the plans for the Scotland Card Show and everything like that. And you said I always wanted to keep it on a rotation, so it's not always in the same place, so people can experience different parts of the country. So obviously now after having a couple shows, do you think that how your vision was actually coming to fruition? That it's actually quite nice changing it up quite a bit.
yeah, and I think this year we're hosting it in the main event campus in Glasgow, and I think due to demand, I can't seem to find a venue big enough
Mm.
in Edinburgh anymore or another part. So
Yeah.
I think next year is going to be in Glasgow again, just due to the size of the venue and stuff. So I think we will be doing like maybe we trade nights and stuff here and there, but I think the annual Scotland Card Show will end up being in that event campus in Glasgow now. I think, yeah, just due to demand, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, that's a true testament to the growth and the size of it. And another thing that I remember you saying very early on was trying to bring Scottish collectors together who might necessarily not know each other or even know that the hobby really exists. So have you kind of seen that transition now as well, of more people coming along actually locally in Edinburgh, maybe traveling
Yeah.
up from different parts of Scotland? Because it does seem when
Yeah,
I see it that there's a lot of new faces.
definitely. And I think this year you can actually see on our ticket system is where people purchase tickets.
Mm.
And there's people coming from like way up north. I'm talking like Isle of Skye, Inverness, Aberdeen. You've got people all coming down, and it's just great. It's amazing to see this little community. Well, now it's turned into a big community, but there is that like solid group of people that have been there since day one. That first show we did in Glasgow, where there was about 300 people, they're all coming back. We've got the OG vendors and sponsors. They want to come back, and I hope that continues as we gain these new sponsors. We want to keep those old ones every year.
Oh, yeah.
We've got loads coming from London. It's insane. You can actually see like on the map where it shows everyone purchases tickets. London's like a big chunk are coming from London. I don't know if people are driving or flying or so, but it's that's mad.
Yeah, no, I've like I say, I remember our discussions about it. And I remember the first time you said you opened up the website and you could see people, and you were shocked that it was people, not obviously just not in Scotland. So,
Yeah,
especially some of these vendors, because I know obviously Football Cards Direct, for example, who come up have such an abundance of stock, and they're
yeah.
all like third downers, but they travel up in their van. But even that is must be crazy to you that people obviously are loving all this bit
It,
up to Scotland, just come back in like 48 hours.
yeah, honestly, and I think like I'm a very tired driver, so when I drive to a show, if it's more than a 4 hour drive, I'm falling asleep on the wheel. So
Yeah.
these guys are doing these like 9 hour drives up and 9 hour drives back, and then we've got Dave and Adams are coming from the Netherlands. They're driving. They're driving
Oh,
to Glasgow. I think that must be like a 14-hour drive there and a 14-hour drive back. So I definitely need to show them a good time. So maybe the evening of the card show where there's a Euros game on, so maybe we'll go for a drink after. And I think that game on the 29th of June could be England playing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll all be cheering on, I don't know, Ukraine or somebody.
There'd be a nice divide in wherever you watch it between all the London ones and
Yeah,
Scotland.
literally.
Yeah, but don't worry,
It'll
at the
be
end
good.
of it, it'll be switched. You'll all be all the English ones be booing England, and you'll be cheering the other.
It's funny because we'll go to. I'm gonna take them to the most Scottish pub I can find. So if they celebrate an England goal, they get kicked out. So
That's brilliant. But like I see, obviously now we move obviously our attention to next Saturday's big event at the SEC. Obviously preparations now are in their final stage. Obviously it's 6 days away. So how are you confident? Obviously you said already a lot of vendors are returning, a lot of sponsors are returning. So how's it all been gearing up to that next week show?
yeah, it's been a good 9 months preparation, doing it part time. But I think gaining new sponsorships such as like Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Dave and Adams, and just having that relationship with them and bringing them to Glasgow to just reach that new audience for them, really. As well as like getting guest signings such as like Lorcana artists and voice actors. We were close to having a professional football player, but I think that'll be next year now. That was just due to the Euros happening, and also a lot of these clubs in Scotland's pre-season has started now, so they all had games on
Yeah.
Saturdays. But I think next year we'll have that. But yeah, this year has just been preparing to, go. I want to say like 3 times the size as we did last time. Last event was about 800 people, and now we're like 3,000. So it's a big jump, and it's a new venue, but it's the main venue in Scotland where these events happen. So yeah, just getting used to the ins and outs of the venue. Creating a floor plan was tough because they are very strict at the venue in terms of like, one person is like a certain amount of space, a table, a certain amount of space. You need to be away from fire doors, all that kind of ins and outs. But yeah, very excited. We've got insane sponsors, great guests. We've got a huge vendor aisle. We've got people returning, new vendors. We've got a huge vendor waiting list. So I'm hoping next year we can introduce all these new vendors. And yeah, 3,000 collectors, loads of tables. Hopefully it's not too hot, but there is aircon. And hopefully Scotland are still in the Euros at that point, so we all can go support them on the weekend as well.
I was going to say, it sounds like an absolutely incredible event. And obviously, if we just reflect, obviously, 2 years ago to that first one, I remember when you were saying, like, what we was once saying, like, what would you aim for? Obviously, in this 2 shows further on now, did you imagine being at this size? Because obviously, it's scaled up considerably since that first show.
Nah, I honestly didn't. I think being at the SEC is huge for me, I've attended a lot of events there. That's where those big conventions happen, like Comic Cons. You have like music guests going there. I think it's Pink and the Killers are playing there that same week. And just to have the Scotland Card Show be a main event at the SEC is just insane. And I think next year we're doing a weekend event there. And if, 7,000 people turn up from Scotland at that venue, it would just be mind blowing, because I don't do this full time. This is very much a hobby for me. And that would just be an insane achievement. And I think next Saturday, like I said, I hope people turn up. Like, I'm so nervous, like people won't turn up. But then I'm scared too many people turn up that it's uncomfortable. So I hope we get that fine line of just busy all day for the vendors and it's comfortable for people to walk around. So yeah.
I was going to say, it's very much a beta show kind of thing of, it's the first time at this new venue. You don't know what to expect. So you can plan as much as you want, but until it happens for the first time, that's when you can truly then tinker it for next year's show. So like I say, it's always going to be met with some challenges, which is no doubt, it's just natural. But it's another thing, good thing of, like you say, for next year's show, you've got this one to look back on, then you can tinker that floor plan a little bit. So it's always got to be quite exciting as well, having that of, this is new. It's something completely different. So then we
Yeah,
can, for you, especially next year's Tuesday show, you can be like, right, we can move that table slightly that way. We can
for
put that
sure. Yeah,
there, and
yeah.
it's
I think the SEC has like 5 main halls for events,
mm,
and we're in the second smallest hall. And I've spoken to the venue. I'm like, if demand is crazy and it's too full, all that, next year we've got to go to a bigger hall. And then there's room to grow to the bigger hall and the bigger
yeah,
hall where it's like huge. So I think, yeah, one step at a time, you know. So next Saturday, hopefully it's a success and we can all enjoy a pint after it. Uh, I very much think like when the on event day, it's all down to the vendors
mm,
to make that show. They do an insane job. Like I know Third Down are a sponsor for your podcast, but they are regular attenders of shows, and vendors like that are like make the show.
yeah.
They're so accommodating. They're so flexible. They're so great customer service. So it's all down to them guys to make the show really. We just got to scan tickets on the door and let everyone in and just
Mm.
see what happens, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say it's crazy to think these shows because like you can put all the preparation, but and like it's so dependent on who turns up, what
Yeah,
vendors are there, and I always said as well, all of the cases, one person brings a card along that they weren't going to bring along, that could make someone's day. It's everything
yeah,
that can happen at a card show is so subjective. Anything can happen because you could be like, oh, you know what, I'm not going to bring that card along with me this time, but then that could finish someone piece. So how much
yeah.
stuff can happen in a card show is actually crazy to think of.
Insane.
Like,
And I think
it's
because we do it once a year, we've had people like preparing their like trading binders and their stock and everything for the last like 7 months.
mm,
And like people are like, I've been saving money as an attendee for like 8 months. So I think people are ready to like have that time to just buy everything
yeah,
they've needed for like the last year. And I think that's what makes it good for the vendors if like
mm.
because it's just once a year, people are there to buy because they've been waiting for ages for it. So yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say, I think, like, especially when you say like that, the liquidity that it brings into the markets, especially the Scottish market as well, because
yeah,
whereas obviously England mostly is obviously there was a Cardiff show yesterday, but England's very fortunate that we have quite a lot of shows, so it brings that liquidity into the market quite a
yeah,
bit. But this is the number one for in Scotland. It is
yeah,
the show, so what it does for the Scottish hobby is probably we can't even probably put it into words, but that must as well make you quite proud that you actually have got quite a big impact of what goes on, not obviously just Scotland, but the UK in general.
yeah. And I think it's the same in like Ireland and stuff. Like
Yeah,
I know the Dublin shows once a year, and I think after they did that first one, I you can now see like people already buzzing for that next one.
yeah,
And I think that's what like I think obviously the London show because it's London they can do it every 3 months because it's huge, you know.
yeah,
Uh, whereas like say if it was like Manchester once a year or something like
mm,
that. And I know I don't know if you saw Card Madness
yeah,
in Dusseldorf. That's once a year, and I think they sold out like 2 days after tickets went on sale. So
mm.
people are it's like sold out and they've got to wait a year. So I think like if you create that demand and you create that buzz and the anticipation, like it people will show up and people will be ready for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's brilliantly put. Like you say, the Dublin Card Show, the Scotland Card, and people look at their calendar and be like, right, next June, July, oh, I might be going to Scotland. February, I might be going to Ireland. So
Yeah.
when it's them yearly ones, you can be like, you can kind of be like, right, I'm going that one, I'm going that one, and
Yeah.
you fill in the gaps in between. And
Exactly.
especially when you're making the best thing is you can make a weekend of it. Like you go up, you can go up on the
Yeah.
Friday, come back the Monday. So, of people that you manage, obviously during the day is very hectic, but obviously the people you manage to do quite a lot of people actually do make it into like a weekend trip
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think that's what happened in Edinburgh. I think people stayed the Friday night and then they went to the card show and then that evening it was sunny and I think people like went up to the castle. They went like some walks down the main street.
Mm.
You know, Edinburgh's quite like a Harry Potter kind of old town. You know, there's no skyscrapers and stuff. It's very
Yeah,
castle orientated and stuff. So people enjoy that. Glasgow isn't as like nice.
yeah,
I think in terms of like, say we've got these voice actors coming from America, I know for a fact they're keen to go explore Scotland. So I think some are gonna go to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Some maybe go like a wee drive up north and see like the Cairngorms or Loch Lomond and stuff. So I think that's what I love about it, is bringing in people to the country. That it's a very nice country when it's nice weather. If it was pouring with rain, that's not that nice. But
Yeah, like I say, obviously the weather is always hard to predict when you
yeah,
go into Scotland. But obviously, talking as well, just briefly about the last show again. Obviously, you did feature the trade night, obviously at Easter Road, as you said, with the Card Show Awards as well, which was a budding success, and obviously it's returning again this year. So, how did actually the show go last time as well? Because obviously they're creeping into the UK thing now of it's very successful, they're very popular. So, how did it all go for you as well up there?
I think that's the thing. The awards went really well.
Yeah.
And I think the trade night turned into just after drinks, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
There wasn't much trading going on. So that's the reason why we're not doing one this year, is because I think people were just knackered. And I think people just wanted to relax.
Yeah.
And I think because people do that big drive up to Scotland, or they have that early flight, a night where it's like trading and stuff just wasn't really, there wasn't really the demand for it. I think people were just happy to have a pint and catch up and then have the
Yeah.
awards night. So that's just the idea. So no trade night this year. And I think if demand is high, we'll do one next year. But I think our focus has just been on the show this year. And I think there's been trade nights I've been to in, say, London and Manchester, and I've really enjoyed it. But I think, I don't know the last time you went to the London one, but everyone's just sitting down because they're knackered.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's kind of naturally it happens, like the trade night kind of naturally happens during the show, in between the shows at the pub,
Yeah.
and then the trade night as well. It's just like you're just talking with people, and a few people come up to you. So it's the one of them that naturally the trades will happen. It's just like they're just putting on the extra space just to kind of a bit more. I call it more of a casual show
Yeah,
in the
and
evening.
I really enjoy the ones at London. I think London has like 500 people still go to the trade night, so it's definitely worth their while. But I think our plan this year is just to have drinks with like vendors and sponsors and watch the Euros game in the evening. I know a lot of people are just driving back down driving back down south straight after the show, because I think there's a show the day after as well that they're attending. So
yeah, like I say, the shows do never stop at the moment. It's just honestly, it feels like the Euros at shows or something. Like you're literally looking at your clock, right? When's the next one? Oh, next one, and then next one. But obviously, as you say, we just discussed that, and obviously now after talking about trade, obviously we talk about the Card Show Awards as well that obviously were hosted last year. Obviously, the first maiden show. So obviously there was a lot of votes that come in dedicated to the winners. Obviously, we was very fortunate to win the podcast one, but how was the reception you found for that as well? Because I was gutted I couldn't make it up. I was really hoping to be able to make it up.
it's a long trip up for you guys, and it was so nice. It was such like a nice get together with the community. I reckon there was about, I want to say 30 to 40 people there, maybe a bit more. And we had eBay there representing and giving out the awards. But people were really like supportive and congratulating each other. You know, I think people maybe didn't win that did want to win, and obviously we can't please everybody, but I think it was just a nice celebration altogether. And I very much am nervous in terms of speaking out in front of people. I hate like doing presentations, speaking on a microphone, and I think people have really made me relaxed and enjoy it and giving out those awards. And yeah, I think because it was so good and successful, it's made us like carry on doing it. So we're hosting it on July 13th in Manchester, and Ben at the Manchester CarCon is very enthusiastic and been very helpful with organizing it this year. And I think hosting it in Manchester hopefully makes it more accessible for people like yourself, that it's not as far a drive or flight from like London or Newcastle and such. So yeah, I think that's the plan, is just to host it somewhere in the UK or Ireland each year, and hopefully gain more people and more awards as well. Yeah.
I was going to say it's fantastic to see. I was talking to a few of my mates previously about when the nominees were announced. It shows you how much the UK is growing each year. Like the
Yeah,
podcast sector, for example, is absolutely stacked now. Some fantastic
yeah,
podcasts that started up within you. But is that as well quite rewarding for you to see as well that you can give more top people recognition as well for what they've
yeah,
done? Because I've always found that a lot of people, whether it's content creators, vendors, just general people in hobby, they it's hard. You're not naturally just going to say to someone, "Oh, well done, mate. You're doing a really good job." But when you do get a nomination for an award, it's kind of a bit of reward for all that time you put into it, the money you might have put into it as well.
yeah,
But it's nice just to be able to say to someone, "Oh, well done. Keep up the good work," kind of thing.
yeah. And I think obviously deciding the nominees is tough, and
Yeah,
I think the most I could nominate was 12 per category. And obviously we missed so many other people, and I think people might have like put in the comments saying you've missed out this person deserves to be nominated. I don't think people realize how hard it
yeah,
was to narrow it down to like a breaker of the year. There is hundreds of breakers that are doing super well in the UK and Ireland, but we had to narrow it down to 12, and it was tough. But I think we like to mix, you know, for example, YouTuber of the year.
yeah,
You've got these big YouTubers in the UK, such as GBW, who's got like 150,000 subscribers, and you've got like Pokey Chloe, who's got like 50,000 subscribers. But then you've also got these YouTubers that are uploading consistently, and they maybe gained 2,000 subscribers in a month, which is an amazing achievement. So they
yeah,
deserve to be nominated because, yeah, they might not have as many viewers or subscribers, but you know the growth they've had in the last year and the positive comments they get. I think that's a great recognition to give them, and I think that's the point of the awards is to allow these mix of the best, the biggest, and the best, and maybe the smallest to come together and compete in terms of winning the award and recognizing them. And I hope it motivates people to just keep going. And I hope it has, maybe even for you guys, you guys won it last year. And I'm sure you guys probably took that as like, we
oh yeah.
want to win next year. So we want to be consistent. We want to keep going. And hopefully it motivates people to carry on with their hobby. Yeah.
I was going to say it's definitely the motivation. When obviously we was fortunate to win it, it rewards you for all of the stuff that you've done where you might have been a bit, sometimes you're on edge, a bit like, should we continue this? Should we keep going? But, and then like I say, when you realize that people actually are, when you see a number, I know a few YouTubers said this at the time, you see a number on a screen and you're a bit like, oh, it's a number. But when you put into context of how many people are actually watching, if they were standing in front of you, I don't think I'd be able to hack talking on a podcast in front of however many hundreds it is, but it's rewarding then because you actually, someone's saying, oh, all the people voted. Actually, no, you're doing really well. And then you're like, well, I can't stop now. I've got to, I've got to try and get better. And I think that's the best thing is it spears everyone on within content creating, podcast, champion of the year, whatever it may be. That you know what we're doing is doing it right. So let's keep on doing it. And I think naturally we are building the UK scene better and better and better because we're all pushing each other to get better and bigger.
I think like in this community, people are like very supportive of each other, and I think also there's that competitive side of everyone as well.
Yeah,
and I think like I'm sure there's like 4 card shows in Manchester, and they like I'm sure they all probably like to see their show be the best, but they also probably attend the other shows because they just like card collect. And I'm sure that's the same with you guys, like podcasts. Like you guys probably listen to other podcasts. You probably listen to your competitors' podcasts. I wouldn't even say it's competitors, but like you probably still want to be the best podcast. And I don't think that's a bad thing like, at all. And I think that's great. And I think that's what I want to keep the awards a positive thing where it pushes people, it brings out a wee competitive side of everyone. But at the end of the day, if you don't win, you congratulate the people that did, and then you just hopefully push yourself to do better, not do better, but just continue to grow the next year. Yeah.
As I say, it's so well put because I remember last year, I think there was about 5 nominees for the podcast year. Now it's a full stacked roster. And like I say, it doesn't matter who wins it because we're all producing content for the UK, whether it's for the love of cards, whether it's the card talk, card show, sorry. It's Soccer Cards United, who I love their podcast as well. So we're all we're all good mates. We're all pushing each other. We've all been talking to each other. So it's funny because some people always think like there's this animosity between
Yeah,
tenders, between shows, between podcasts, between comedy. But at the end of the day, everyone gets on well each other. You can see it at the card shows. Everyone's getting on well each other. And I think it's just a way of giving back to the hobby, saying, look, you're doing well, so are you. But then, again, I think the best way, I think how you've done it so far is, all right, some of the big guys, like you say, GBW, Pokey Chloe, whatever it might be. But then you have got the likes of Sports Cards, you get obviously Dan, El Toro as well, who are doing fantastic work and deserve to be recognised, because if they never get recognised, they might just give up. And honestly, there'd be so many people that'd be gutted if they stop doing their content.
Yeah, and I think like you said, like Sports Cards UK, I'm pretty sure he must upload like, I think last year he must have been uploading like every week. Whereas like Poke Chloe, who's a bigger YouTuber in terms of subscribers, might have only uploaded like once a month.
Yeah.
So I like in total, like that consistency and that those positive reviews and the likes and everything, like it all adds up and it all like hopefully motivates. I've actually got the award here if you want to see a wee sneak peek of the awards.
This is what we've all come for. This is what we've all come for.
I got them yesterday. I picked them up yesterday. Yeah.
It's what we've all been waiting for. I
just picked up a random one, so I don't know. They're the same thing, but we've got a new logo. If you can see.
Oh, look at that!
So this is release of the year. Now you got the new date, and you got the winner, and then that's the logo there.
So sleek.
And of course, we've added Ireland to the mix because they pretty much are just with us in the UK in terms of the community and stuff. So
I was going to say, in comparison, obviously,
that
is last year's one. Obviously, it's absolutely. The thing is, it's bad because I've got all these cards on the side, which have all come down just to make room for this lovely award, which obviously is the recognition. But like I say, it's obviously it's a great fun. No matter if you're nominated, you're runner up, you win, whatever it is, it's just a thing. Just be awarded for your contribution. Obviously, like you say, last year's one was obviously in Edinburgh. This year's one's in Manchester. You say about potentially Ireland or moving it around the UK. Is that one of your ideas for it as well, to bring the show, like the actual walls around the country? Because
I definitely want to do it in London next year. If this goes well in Manchester, which I hope it will, definitely do it. I think I was speaking to the guys at CardCon. We're quite pally with them, and they're keen to host it there because they're quite like I don't know how to word it. Their social media and stuff looks really cool. As in, they're really good at like their graphics and their organization. I don't know. CardCon looks really premium, doesn't it? So I think it'd be cool to like add. I think they have a stage of some sort, maybe. But I think it'd be cool to host it in London for sure.
Oh yeah. I think London would be a really cool one. Like you say, with the 500 or so, if not probably by then, probably 600-700 people who attend the trade night, that might not even be that all of them are focusing on the awards. Even if 50% are, and then it gets the attention. You can put like the trade show around the stage. It could be really cool. Like I say, that'd be like a mecca, so to speak. Everyone tries to get to the London Card Show, so I have the awards there as well. It'd go hand in hand, probably go down really well.
Oh, actually, I said CardCon, but London Card Show would be great too.
Yeah, I think you got aim high. Aim high.
Yeah,
aim for the London Card Show.
I think I mentioned it to Harry 2 years ago or before that one, and I think I forget because his trade night is there, and then he still has the stage on the other side of the hall. So that'd be a good idea. I'm sure he would want to.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Look, there we go. Planning live on air. Look.
There you go. Why not?
But like I say,
another time. Hopefully Manchester goes well, and then aim for London next year. Because I think if it's in London, more people will be able to attend. That's the aim. Yeah.
Yeah. Before you know it, it'll be live streamed and everything. Like, you know what I mean? You've got to go for that. Get the red carpet out. You know what I mean?
eBay did suggest live streaming it, and I think that will be next year. Not this year, but I think like a live stream and maybe making. This is like way down the line. This was when we had a meeting with eBay. They were like, we can make it like a proper like black tie event and all that kind of stuff. And I think meshing it with a trade night right now kind of helps bring that footfall and attendance. So maybe once it's more of a thing in the name, and maybe like uh, you know, yeah, make it a big maybe an event on its own. Maybe.
Yeah, when it gets to that, remind me, give me a year's notice because I'll resubscribe to my gym just so I look proper and in the pictures I can actually get into my suit that I probably haven't worn for about 6 years. But that's a whole new debate. But like I say, it's going to be a fantastic, obviously, event. I know the tickets have been flying, absolutely flying. So I've been checking it all the time on your website, but also on your Instagram with the update. So obviously, if anyone's still wanting to attend, is there any availability left, or is
Yeah,
it?
so we just introduced the afternoon tickets, which gives you access between 2:30 till 4:30 until it ends. And yeah, that's just to try make everyone get a chance to attend because I didn't want to sell it out. But sounds bad. Like tickets were selling too quick, so we stopped advertising it for like 3 weeks. But tickets were still selling too quick, and then we obviously have a venue capacity, so we just had to stop tickets for general admission. But then now we've introduced a handful of afternoon tickets to allow people to still attend if they can. So
And then, obviously, for anyone who's saying it could be someone traveling down from a northern part of Scotland or traveling from Europe, wherever it may be, any words of advice for, like, obviously the location or anything like that?
I would suggest that if you're getting into Glasgow city centre, is just to walk to the venue. It's probably a half an hour walk, and if you can walk to the venue, I would just recommend doing that. It's a nice walk down the River Clyde because buses, trains, it's not worth your time. It's probably quicker and easier just walking. So if you get into the train station or anything, just walk to the venue, definitely.
And then, any closing words you'd like to say, obviously, from an organizer perspective, or just any closing messages at all for the
Yeah, I
people who
just
might be attending?
thank you guys for all the support. This is the only show in Scotland so far, and I think the support streak's been insane. And I hope to see everyone there on Saturday, no matter what the weather. I think it probably will rain, and hopefully, when this goes live, Scotland are through to the next round of the Euros. So hopefully, we're celebrating that as well.
Yeah, like I said, that would be no doubt Scotland would be an absolute mention. There might be a few sore heads tomorrow morning, obviously on a Monday morning in work if that happens.
Tomorrow morning at school. So.
But from obviously myself, Harry, who said he couldn't be with us today, and everyone who's listening on, we wish you the best of luck, obviously, for the card show next Saturday, but also the awards as well. No doubt everyone's going to be paying attention. But we can't wait to hear back from you how this one's gone. Obviously, looking forward to the 2-day in Glasgow next year, which will be fantastic. Yeah. But good luck with everything.
Thank you so much for having me again. Yeah, thanks.
Like we say, it's obviously the Euros are rolling on. Obviously, if you can, please head up. For us, it's head up, or you might be head down, head east, head west, wherever it may be to Glasgow next Saturday. All the information, I do recommend checking out the Instagram in the pinned post on the Instagram down below. Head over there, and obviously the link is in there for the website and everything like that. But like I say, a massive thanks yet again for Further Down to Space for powering this episode of the Top Loader podcast. If you want anything at all on their website, use the link in our bio or visit furtherdown.co.uk and use TTP10 for 10% off. But hope everyone out there is buying, selling, trading, and all of that good jazz. But most importantly, happy hobbying and good night.